everybody. This is Jane Gardner of Finding Your Purpose. Today, we are doing spotlighting purpose-driven entrepreneurs and how they found their purpose and what their business is, and how knowing their purpose has helped them be successful with their business, as well as, of course, talking about their business, because we love business. And today, on today's show, we have Esther Shpitalnik of es-esq.com. My apologies, Esther. We're gonna just go ahead and you can correct me and we can start again. No, we won't. Let's go ahead. This is called Imperfect Action, Esther.
I love it. Improvising. I love it.
So Esther, could you say your name again for us? Thank you.
Of course, it's Esther K. Shpitalnik.
Thank you, Esther. Yes, thank you. And today you were graciously enough to come on and talk about your purpose and your business. And I'm really excited to have you here because it's something I love to find out on how people find their purpose. Because finding your purpose can be hard. And so when you found it, it's a time to celebrate. So Esther, how did you find your purpose?
That's a really good question, and it wasn't easy. It's not like one day I just opened up a book or opened up a drawer and I found it in there. It took a long journey of first learning what my purpose wasn't, first learning what I didn't want to do, and that was a lot of trial and error and many different career paths and cities that I lived in, and then just really listening to my intuition, really honing in on who I am to my core. And I guess where I found my purpose was deep inside my core.
Oh, wow. That's great. Yeah. Yeah. I know a lot of people, they keep searching and searching and they never really find their purpose. So that's great that you've been able to find your purpose. And in fact, I think your business, I've been to your website, and I think you actually, that is your purpose, is to help people, maybe more than finding their purpose, but please, Esther, what do you do for others then for their business?
Yeah, so I like to think about it like, have you ever been stuck where you are and you know you've achieved a lot and you look back and you're like, okay, I've done a lot in my life, but I'm just stuck somehow. Like, I know I could be doing more. I know I could be fulfilling my own purpose. I just don't know how to get there. And that's really the person that I help, because I was there myself. And so that's what my business and that's what my service is all about, helping that purpose-driven individual, that high success person, to get unstuck and reach their next level. And if that means finding their purpose or achieving their purpose, then that's what it's all about.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Esther. That's a great analogy, because I know a lot of entrepreneurs who are stuck into only doing their business rather than actually going to the higher level of their business. And I know that you help in 30-minute consult, have a chat with people and get an idea on their business and everything. What exactly what do you do when you're talking to them, just initially, because sometimes it's really hard we're stuck, right? So it's very hard to tell, really.
Yeah, Jane,
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Sometimes we don't know if we're stuck or where we're stuck. And so in that 30-minute consultation, we get a chance to talk one-on-one, and I find out to the core, what is it that you're really seeking? What solution can I provide for you? What issue do you have, or what dilemma do you have that I can help solve for you? And we go through a series of exercises and just a conversation. And very often people come out of that consultation, out of that conversation, saying, actually, this is what I want, or this is what I need help with. This is my dilemma. And then me, Esther, the success consultant, that's how I can help those individuals.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I think on your website you have a few testimonials of from people that you've helped, and
Yeah.
you're working with that. And you mentioned that you would like to talk about a guide to law of attraction. Maybe you could talk about that, because I could use a guide to the law of attraction.
Yeah, Jane, I'm with you, and that's kind of why I thought about it. So I've spent a lot of time reading and listening to podcasts and really consuming myself in the whole law of attraction. And I just kept coming back to this idea of like, I wish there was a real person's guide to law of attraction. Like sometimes it's just, and I call it the woo-woo stuff. I love the woo-woo stuff. Sometimes I
Right.
think it's fascinating, but like as a real person, I'm like, okay, this law of attraction idea sounds great, but how do I actually put it into practice, into use? So I've sort of developed the real person's guide, and really what it comes down to, it's a very simple thought, very simple motto that I have. So the thoughts that we think directly correlate to the actions that we take. So I'll repeat that because I think it's really important to think about. The thoughts that we think directly correlate with the actions that we take. And so I'll dissect that a little bit. So if we think a certain thought, like for example, true story, I had student debt, I had student loans and credit card debt. And if you think I'm in debt, if you think I am poor, if you think I am broke, your actions are going to lead to the same place where you are: broke, poor, in debt. But if you think I am financially free, I am out of debt, if you think I have savings, then the actions that you take are going to correlate to that. So when I was in credit card debt, for example, my thought was, I am out of credit card debt. I'm financially free of credit cards. And so once I started thinking about that, when I went to reach for my credit card, I put it right away. I haven't used a credit card in over 3.5 years because I thought I'm not in debt, and therefore I am not using my credit card. So that's kind of the simple version
Oh,
of the
wow.
guide.
Actually, that's a that's an interesting concept for sure. Never thought of that one. Yeah, yeah, especially your process is very important in this time,
Yeah.
for the challenge of pandemic. And yeah, we're going to mention it because in 2020 it's behind all of us.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, have you had any way, well, to ignore the pandemic? I tried to ignore the pandemic, and have you had anyone who's been challenged? I know a lot of actually entrepreneurs who are saying, "Oh, everything's uncertain. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not even going to start anything new," or and I don't really believe that's
Yeah.
a good idea. So have you had any discussion with people on that, or you know
I mean, I had the most important discussion with myself about that, actually. So uh,
yeah.
again, I really believe the thoughts that we think correlate to the actions that we take. And I had actually started a new position in April, at the height of
Mhm.
the pandemic. I
Oh,
was there
wow.
for 3 weeks, and after 3 weeks, the company unfortunately had to lay off 20% of the
Mhm.
company, myself included. And I took it as an opportunity. I
Oh,
said, "What is
wow.
this? What is this blessing? What is this opportunity?" I think in the hardest of times is when we come out with our greatest opportunity. And I had all of the makings of this idea to start my business. I had wanted to start my business for several years, and I just never got around to it. It was never the right time. I, I just never got my stuff together. And then here I am at the height of the pandemic. I've just lost my job. I have a 1-year-old. So,
Oh,
things
wow. Mhm.
challenging. But I thought, if not now, then when? Like, this is my opportunity. No one's leaving their house. No one's really hiring. So why not start my business now? And, I'd found my purpose, and now the universe gave me the opportunity. And so in terms of the pandemic, to answer your question,
Wow.
the conversation that I had was very important with myself. And to me, it was an opportunity and a blessing.
Well, that's amazing that you would start a business during a pandemic. That is true belief in the
And like,
power.
the way I think about it, like if you think about back to the recession in 2008, the, you know, the hardest times make us the most resourceful. And
Mm-hmm.
I was coming out of law school in right at the height of the recession, and
Mm-hmm.
it was so hard finding a job. But everyone in my cohort, we became so much more resilient and so much more resourceful. And if we were like, okay, if I can find a job at the height of a recession, I can do anything. And that's how I feel about starting this business. And for anyone, like if you can get through this, if you can get through the pandemic with a positive attitude, you can do anything. And that's what I've told my clients, you know, like if you can get through the hardest times in your life and come out of it on the other side, then you can do anything.
That is true. Yeah, we're my husband and I, we have a structural engineering firm. We didn't haven't stopped, but the contractors have stopped. So we're grateful that we still have work. But yeah, it's been a challenge. So I really appreciate that concept of an amazing story. Actually, you should mention that to everyone that you're starting your business in the middle of the pandemic.
And good for you for continuing yours. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, wow. So yeah. So have you got any tips for people on that they can take right now away with them before we go on some of the things that they can do for keeping positive and getting to their you know
Yeah.
to action into action. I
Yeah. And
believe in action.
that's the important thing. The action, thoughts equals action.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I've done for a few years now, it's kind of like my Jedi mind trick. Or mind trick is oftentimes if we start thinking about something negative, this pandemic and anxiety, we start spiraling, right? Like we start ruminating and then thinking about all of the terrible things. And this can be anything from the pandemic, or maybe you had, a negative interaction with your boss, or a fight with your spouse, or literally any bad thing.
Right.
We start thinking and ruminating and like, oh my God, all of these bad things. So my trick is I actually I pick one place or thing that brings me joy, and when I'm having those negative thoughts, I think about that one place, and I think
Mm.
about all of the details of the one place. So for example, I'm from the East Coast, I'm from Boston. My favorite place on earth is Newport, Rhode Island. I've been going there my whole life. It's beautiful in the summer, it's peaceful in the winter. It's right on the ocean. And when I'm having these really negative thoughts, I start thinking about Newport. And I think about what it smells like,
Mm.
what it looks like on a cold day, what it looks like on a warm day, what I would eat there, what I would wear there. Literally every single detail I can think about. And the reason why this works and the reason why this helps is because it switches your mind from one thought to another. And then once you start thinking about, okay, like Newport, Rhode Island, or maybe for you it's Seattle, or somewhere like that, your mind focuses on something else. And especially if it's a place that brings you joy. And the reason why I try to think about a place or a tangible thing rather than a person is because a tangible thing or place, um, there's no back and forth. There's only the emotion that you put into it. So for
Mm.
example, I wouldn't necessarily think about my daughter, although I love her, that could create like emotional, well, like there's another person involved, and emotions and feelings and thoughts. Whereas a tangible place or thing, you yourself have attached meaning to it. And if it's a place that brings you joy, you've attached the joy. And so the quick thing that you can do is like, okay, bad thought. Oh, I had a fight with my boss and now everything's bad. I'm going to get fired. Newport, Rhode Island. And I've done that and it works.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get back to painting because that's my joy, but
Yeah.
been busy. So, and my husband wants to go to Seattle to see the baseball, which is over now, so he can't do that anymore. So,
And Jane, I think that's a great example that you actually just said about painting.
yeah.
It's like, say for example, you're just having a tough day or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
you don't necessarily have to, like, maybe you can't get to painting, but you can think about it. You can say, oh, that blue would look so nice with that yellow and that green. I'm going to paint this. And then suddenly your mind refocuses from that negative thought to your painting.
No, that's a great idea. Yeah, I like that idea. Been trying to get back in that room, but everything else is pulling you.
Yeah.
And I wanted to speak about your body language for a positive mindset, because I think that's really, really important. Your body is, you, and finding your purpose is all about your personality and being aware of yourself. So this would be a great topic. And if you have a little takeaway for everybody, that would be great too.
Yeah. The easiest way you can change your mindset is to smile. I mean, even if you have to fake it, watch this. I just suddenly got happier. Body language, your thoughts equals your actions, and one of your actions is your body language. And the word implies body language, what we say with our body. And if you're slouching and you're frowning and you're saying everything's bad, then everything's bad. But if your shoulders are back, chin is up, smile, even if you're alone, even if you're on the phone with someone, just by virtue of just taking those tiny little body language steps, especially the smile, that'll start changing your thoughts also.
Oh, that's awesome.
What I've been happy, but I'm also talking to you, Jane. So that's
no. I mean, honestly, I've had a bad weekend, so I should have gone into my painting room, or I've been watching some Jim Gaffigan on video. So, he always makes me feel better. So that's always good. So yeah. So I think we'll wrap up and ask you what you'd like to tell the audience. We've already given them a couple of things that they can do to keep positive, and so yeah, sure. And then we'll just mention your offer after that. Thanks.
Yeah. So I think what I'd love to leave the audience with is the idea of finding your purpose isn't necessarily opening up a drawer and finding it. It's about being the most true to yourself and whatever that looks like. And when you are yourself and you're true to your core, then you and your purpose sort of come together and find each other. And that's not to say that's easy to be yourself in a world where everything and everyone's trying to get you to be what they want. But to be truly who you are to yourself, you and your purpose will find each other.
Awesome. Yeah. It's amazing the different ways that people find their purpose. So Esther, what would you say is your success consulting about? And your 30-minute, we've already talked about your consultation. So what would you like to just say briefly again about your consultation and how you work with them on their success again, please?
Sure. So the consultation is a way to get to know me, to get to know you, and for you to know what your purpose is for, or what solution or what problem that you have. And you might not know it just yet, but after 30 minutes of talking and really exploring that together, we come up with what it is that you want to focus on and what you want to solve. And then in our work together, and me as your success consultant, I help you achieve that success that you're looking for in whatever arena of life that you hope to get.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Esther, for coming on. You're my first interview guest on Spotlight. I did see on your website, so I am going to say on your website, you talked about your podcast. Oh, here it is over here. That interviewing is tough. The thing about, and you have 6 steps to interview success. And I'm going to be listening to
Good. Yes.
that podcast.
There was the Crew It Group podcast, 6 steps to interview success. And thank you so much, Jane, for having me. I really enjoyed chatting with you, and this was really fun.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. For more on Esther's consultation, go to es-esq.com.